What's going on, warfighters? This is Alex from Part-Time First Sergeant again with another 2-minute drill. Well, I just finished wrapping up a video regarding retirement. I think I just finished the second installment, and I came across a message that had a young soldier that's been in for 2 years saying, "Hey, I've only been in for 2 years. I really enjoyed the National Guard, and what do I need to do to retire?" But one of the things is like, should you ETS? Right? I remember when I first got my first position as a platoon sergeant, I used to try to retain every soldier. So every soldier coming up through ETS, regardless of their performances, I always felt like you can always do something with a soldier. And then after a couple of years of doing that and making some poor decisions on my end and convincing the wrong soldiers to stay in, by the way, I'll clarify that before you shit on me, but I realized that it really comes down to the soldier themselves. I was directly responsible for building their training year or advising the commander on building the training year. So always making it so it's challenging, it's busy, it's one of those things that your body's just physically beat down at the end of a drill weekend and your brain is just hemorrhaging information. But I found that those were the most rewarding exercises, the most rewarding drills that we've had. And the soldiers that were into it stayed. Many soldiers came to me later and said the only reason why I stayed and re-enlisted was because of the change that I saw in the unit. And there are NCOs out there that think like, hey, why don't we have an easy drill? Why don't we have time for bonding and just hanging out with the guys, get to know my soldiers? It's like, well, those are not the drills that they're re-enlisting for. They're re-enlisted for the drill where you're out in the field with a tracked vehicle, with a tank, whatever your MOS is, or with a convoy, Humvees and weapons mounted, or you're doing foot patrolling. Those are the ones for line unit, those are the ones that they remember. The one that they land nav to the top of a mountain in the middle of a desert somewhere. Those are the ones that they remember. Those are the ones that they go home and brag about. And those are the ones that they re-enlist for. So now when I see a soldier and they ask me, should I ETS? I ask them, what do you want out of this experience? What do you want the National Guard to be like? And I understand that some soldiers watching, they're not in a line unit, they're in a headquarters element. But this applies across the board, right? So if you're an S2, are you doing intelligence exercises before your line units in a battalion are going out to a convoy, to a field exercise? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Just because you're not in the theater of operation, it doesn't mean that you can't do your job. If you're a medic, are you doing your emergency response exercises? If you're in operations, are you, as an AGR, are you giving your M-Day soldiers the opportunity to do FUOPs, QOPs, and all these other things that they're supposed to be doing but never do because they're not engaged? And I can say this to every MOS. Logistics. Are you doing all your convoy and load prepping months in advance before you go out and roll out with the pieces of equipment and provide support to other units? Are you doing all those things? So that's what I ask a soldier. Should you ETS? If you're asking me that question, I will tell you yes, you should ETS. Because obviously you're not engaged enough in the unit that you're in. Either you ETS or find a home that will provide you the fulfillment that you need to not ask that question. If you ask me, if I'm going to ETS, my enlistment comes up in 6 months. I don't know, right? My answer that I give my wife, who is the one that suffers the most out of anybody, the lonely weekends, the missed reunions, the missed anniversaries, the missed whatever, that I've been missing for the past 16 plus years, I tell her, as long as I'm providing value to the people I serve for and the people that I serve with, I'll continue serving. I'm not hung up on doing 20 years. I mean, it's, yes, the couple of bucks that I'll get from retirement, which, by the way, if you haven't watched my video, you should. It's a multi-part series talking about retirement anyways. But if you haven't watched, that retirement money, will help pay for some of the medications that I'll need when I'm older because I've been beating the crap out of my body. But At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about the things that you're going to miss while you're doing that. So you have to care. I had an NCO from a different company. We did combined training, some additional training not that long ago, and he mentioned to me, he's like, man, all my subordinate NCOs, man, they see you running around, and the thing that I like about you is that you care. And I told him, I was like, you have to give a fuck, man. I miss my stepfather's 60th, 50th. I missed my mother's 50th and 60th. I missed weddings. I missed a bunch of stuff to be here. So I better give a fuck about what I'm doing. I better care. Otherwise, what am I doing this for? For a couple $100 20 years later when my body's all beaten down? And oh, by the way, I can collect until I'm 60. 57 because of deployments and stuff, but that's besides the point. Why are you doing this? Ask yourself. Is it worth it? Don't do it just because you've been in for a long time. Do it because you care. Because that slot that you're holding up is a slot that could go to somebody else like me when I was coming through the ranks that actually give a shit and try to make change. Try to make the National Guard a better experience for everyone. Try to learn as much as I can so I can be the best warfighter that I can be, so I can later down the line train the next generation that came up so they can be the best warfighter they can be. Because when I see a soldier tired as heck coming back from the field all dirty and he did his job and he's still smiling, I go home. That's my satisfaction. I go home with that's what I brag about. That's what I tell my friends and family about. Like, hey man, this dude was like running through the dirt and he still had a smile on his face. Those are the people I remember, and those are the people I do it for. And as an NCO, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for NCOER bullet. I'm not doing it for anything other than the soldiers that I serve. Right? I serve them. I do this research on retirement for 20 hours. Yes, I need it too, but I could just pass the buck to my AGR and say, hey, can you help me and figure this out? Like, I want to know the details because I want to answer these questions. I do it for them, right? And it's not like, oh, good job. No. Just the fact that I'm able to do something is the thanks that I want, that I need. I don't need somebody actually to verbalize it. The smile on their face, the feeling of their problem being resolved, the feeling that I provided them opportunities to push themselves as an M-Day soldier is the only things that I need. So if you ask me if I'm going to ETS, my answer is as long as I can continue providing value. So if you ask me, if you shoot ETS, I will tell you, are you providing value? Are you being challenged? Are you creating opportunities for you and your soldiers so you can succeed in the battlefield? Because that's why we trained. And if you want to learn about experiences in the National Guard, that's all what I'm here for. I mean, there's great YouTubers out there crushing it that are in the National Guard, like Fit Soldier, Strength Over Benches is another fellow NCO that's throwing it all out there and giving great advice to soldiers. So check them out as far as the experience of the National Guard. But I just wanted to answer this specific question because this is something that's come up a couple times, and it's come up not just through the online, but in real life in my unit, soldiers that report to me. And I'm just done convincing. It's you convince yourself that this is what you want to do, or you don't. Otherwise, you stay in, you hold up a slot for other people who deserve it, want to be there, and you're not doing anybody any good. So hope this helps. Make sure to check out my videos. I'm doing a series on retirement. It doesn't matter if you've been in for a year or if you've been in for 18 years. I notice there's a lot of things that people still don't understand about how the retirement system works, and you need to know that stuff now, because you don't want to end up like me, where I'm missing 6 good years that I need to go back and try to rectify so I don't have to do 26 years to have 20 good years. All right, everyone. Later.